My fellow Namibians, and to the great sons and daughters of Africa who are listening today, I speak to you not as a mere politician, but as a servant of our people, as a daughter of this soil, and as a leader who refuses to watch her country's destiny be stolen by greed, corruption, and foreign manipulation. Today, I stand before you with a message that will mark a new era for our beloved Namibia. I have taken the bold and final decision to assume full control of the Ministry of Mines and Energy, effective immediately. From this moment onward, the resources beneath our feet, our diamonds, our uranium, our oil, our lithium, our copper, will no longer be treated as personal property by politicians or playgrounds for foreign companies. They belong to the people of Namibia and no one else. And as of today, I am announcing that the Deputy Prime Minister, Natangwe Itete, who also served as Minister of Energy and Mines, is hereby dismissed from his position, effective immediately. He has betrayed the trust of the Namibian people. He has placed personal greed above national duty. He is engaged in corrupt dealings that have undermined the sovereignty of our country and the dignity of our citizens. I will not stand for it, not under my watch.
It's me, Rutendo Matinyarare, once again bringing you the good Zimbabwe story. Our good Zimbabwe story today is at Ngezi. And the reason we're in Ngezi is because of this huge establishment behind me. That right there is Zimplats. Zimplats is a mine that is owned by Zimbabweans and Implats of South Africa. It's the second biggest platinum mine in the world. And as you can see, it's formidable. It's a good Zimbabwe story on the aspect that this mine creates a lot of jobs for 15,000 people here in Ngezi. Not only does it create jobs, but it actually offers a lot of opportunities for business in the area. This makes it a beautiful and a good Zimbabwe story. But it's very important for you guys to understand that when you do the kind of work that I do, my job is not only to tell stories, but it is to bring change. And the reason I'm here today is to give you a mixture of a good story, but a challenge that we need to work with.
My obsession with Ngezi is something that took me by surprise. I never thought that I would ever care about what happened to a poor rural community where mining was taking place. You see, after 6 years of fighting sanctions, I was fatigued. More than fatigued, I was frustrated by the Zimbabwean people because of their lack of appreciation. And so I told myself that I will not fight any more public battles, but all I will focus on now is making money and being selfish to think about myself and my family's future. My first drive to Ngezi was spectacular. It was my first time going down this road, and it took me by surprise. The vegetation, the trees, the scenery was absolutely breathtaking. It was beautiful. It was something from a fairy tale. And as I continued to go, I met truck after truck after truck. What were these huge trucks, and what were they carrying, and where was it coming from? Where was it going to? Sooner or later it became obvious. This road is the Ngezi Platinum Road. And so therefore it means that what it is that was carried on these trucks had to be what was coming from the mines that are owned by Zimplats. The mining complexes are huge, imposing, high-tech, and formidable. They look impressive and spectacular as you can see technology and investment. I begin to make my way towards Ngezi, looking for the town center or the city center. As we turn off the main Platinum Road, we begin to go into a little road that is filled with potholes. Looking at the formidable infrastructure that had been built by Implats, I was so expectant of Ngezi city center. I hoped to see a high-tech city center that mirrors the investment of this formidable mining company called Zimplats.
I'm grateful to you, the elders of our community, for giving me your time. The reason I've come to your community is that my first time to come to Ngezi, I saw the humongous installation of Zimplats. When I passed by there, I was shocked at the size and grandness of this place called Zimplats. When I then got here to Ngezi, TEF, I was shocked to see that there was absolutely no development. To think that Zimplats looks the way that it looks, and there's nothing in Ngezi, shocked me. This is why I'm here today, to talk to you, our elders, and our mothers and fathers, to find out what is going on.
My name is Kenneth Maradzi. I'm happy because you are here. This mine started in 2003, but it has not done anything of significance to this community. However, we've lost a lot of livestock. It's heartbreaking to see the dump site that they've created in this area. We've lost a lot of livestock because of that dump site. The sewage ponds they created inhabits crocodiles. Our river has been contaminated with the sewage from the ponds. We have pleaded with the company for them to build a footbridge for us, but it seems like they failed to deliver.
Baba, you said that they are sewage ponds, and you said that these sewage ponds are actually emptying their sewage effluent into the rivers. Who built these sewage ponds?
They were built by Zimplats. This is where all the sewer from the township go. But they built these ponds near our homesteads. We are actually shocked that they are spearheading development in Kadoma.
How far is Kadoma from here?
Kadoma is far. It's about 120 kilometers from here.
120 kilometers, but yet they are taking the resource from here.
They are mining platinum here in our area, but they are really doing nothing for us.
So besides the cattle that are dying, besides the affluent and sewage that is going into the water, what else is a problem?
In our area, there's no water.
When you say there's no water, what are you saying?
It's even hard to now drill bores because the water is way deeper. So we've had meetings to try and strategize to get and the pumps in the whole area. But it has been under the carpet because even if Zimplats knows about it, it won't make any difference.
You're saying that the water is now difficult to catch in bores?
Yes, even if we drill bores, we can't get access to the water.
Was this the way it was back in the day?
We started living here with few bores, but we had enough water for what we wanted to do. And before Zimplats closed the dams that we were using, we had all the water, enough access that we needed. So since the company closed our dams, all the 6 villages have to walk a long distance to get to the water and access the water.
My lord, I don't think I'm really getting you. You're saying that they were dams before Zimplats
came in and you had access to water?
Yes, we had our own dams, but when Zimplats came, they repurposed our dams to facilitate their own mining activity.
They actually occupied that space, destroyed it, and did what they wanted to do with the space.
This occupation you're talking about is colonialism.
They just thought by taking our water source they had a better plan to compensate us, but hey, little did we know.
When the mine was established, the student population grew rapidly and the existing classrooms could no longer accommodate everyone. These classrooms had originally been built by parents, with each household contributing to their construction. But when the mine opened, many workers' children enrolled in the school without any additional classrooms being built, resulting in a severe overcrowding. As a consequence, the school now runs its morning and afternoon classes, with some students having to learn outside, a situation that has become difficult, especially when it's raining.
Mom, hold on. Let me hear you properly. You said that this school was built by who? And what is the name of the school?
Primary school.
It was built by parents?
We were told to bring a specific amount of bricks as parents, and we united and we brought the bricks. We also contributed some money for the equipment and the builders, and some parents also volunteered their labor to help build. Most of the things were supplied by the parents in this community.
The desks and boards, where did you get those?
We were helped
Who helped you?
with the government. They gave us teachers.
Right. So before there was a mine here, how many students were in the school?
There was around 400, 4-5. I'm not sure, but there was about like 3,000, 3,600.
So you're saying that that mine, that very impressive mine that I just saw, didn't build a school?
No, they didn't build any school. They had to build new blocks, I think 2 years back.
So you're telling me that students are attending lessons under the trees. And is this a primary school or a secondary school?
Both with the secondary, because they are in one place. The primary is up there and the secondary is just by the corner.
So as the village development committee, what would you say if you had to give somebody your grievances? And what is development?
As parents, we think it's necessary for the mine to build their own school besides the one that we built, because there already are a lot of children in the community. In 2012, we had so many cattle that we used to take to the vet, ranging around 1,000. But now, most homes have collapsed because they no longer have cattle. If you want to escalate our issue to our council, that our wealth has degraded because of their poor waste disposal in open spaces.
So the number of cattle have reduced from the thousands that they used to be because
They are dying because of eating the plastics from the waste in the dumping sites.
Basically, from what we're hearing from the community, this is a sign that mining has come into a village. This was a pristine village without any waste like this, and today this village has got waste like this because mining came to town. This is the dump, the rubbish dump that was created by Zimplats for the disposal of plastics that cannot decay.
The things that are burnt here are brought by different companies, the likes of the city council, Nyaradzo. Nyaradzo dumps here. We are not sure of what they dump exactly, but they just come, dump, and burn their things here. nobody knows exactly what it is. As elders, we know it's not allowed, but because we've lost our power, we no longer have a say. And because we no longer have a say, they just do whatever they want, as you can see. Our livestock, which is our wealth, are feeding from the dumping sites, making it risky for them as they will be eating poisonous substances.
Ati mombe dzacho dziri kupera, mbudzi anofanira kuuraya nyama kuti vadye, usavi nevana. Iri kuuya ichidya mumabhini, ichidya zvinhu zvaraswa inonzi chii vanotengesa mishonga iyi. Mafamasi vari kuuya vachizorasa pano. Zviriko here?
So when council and the people dump here, then council comes and burns.
Mavillage aya ari pamira. Ikoko kumiri ukaenda zvenge zvosumudzwa nemhepo zvichinda uko. Panoita air pollution panapa zvokuti unoona gore dema ranenge rakasara.
Basically what they're saying is that the dumping takes place here, the companies come and dump over here, the council comes and dump over here, and then when the plastics are sitting here and they've formed large mounds, they begin to be taken by the wind. They go back into the villages where they don't want such kind of dirt. The cows come, they graze and eat from this rubbish. They're eating vegetable matter, but they also end up eating plastic, and the plastic kills the cows. On the other side there you can actually see burning. So how it is that the mounds are kept under control is that they burn. And they are saying that when they do burn, the cattle come, they start eating the plastic, and their hooves also get burnt by the fire. It's the ultimate story of pollution, where the city life or urbanization comes to a village where it was pristine before, and this mess is created.
After listening to the stories of the community, I was devastated. More critically, I felt helpless, but I also felt guilty. Because what the community members kept emphasizing was the fact that no one takes them seriously.
So I've flown into South Africa, and I'm driving to a city called Rustenburg. The issue that we're talking about is not going to make sense to most people until I start showing you benchmarks. Zimbabwe is not the first country to mine. Implats did not start operating in Zimbabwe. And the reason why we are talking about Implats is it's our biggest mining company in Zimbabwe. And so therefore, if we want to fix mining, we're going to have to look at the biggest player in the market, how it is that they've been impacting the economic development of Zimbabwe and the development of rural communities in Zimbabwe. Remember, the government of Zimbabwe has now got a new strategy where they want to grow the economy of Zimbabwe by pulling up at least 80% of our population that are left behind in either low income or zero income. And the idea is to take land, farming land, and to give it to people with title deeds. What this is going to do is it is going to make it possible for Zimbabweans to get loans and to monetize and leverage their land in order to be productive. Very important and a very brilliant strategy by the government of Zimbabwe. But that whole strategy does not really work if it works alone, that we only want to lift people in rural areas through farming. Manufacturing has become Zimbabwe's biggest economic contributor at the present moment. And because of that, it means that we have to look at making rural communities start to manufacture. Additionally, we also get to get them into mining in other areas. And that is why this documentary is being done, is that we want mining and industry to become integral to that rural development plan. So, as you remember, guys, we came into this community in Ngezi to get an understanding from the community how it is that they're living side by side with one of the world's biggest platinum mines. Now, you have to understand that some of these discussions we're having are very sensitive. Not only are they sensitive, but there are certain stakeholders that don't want people to speak. So as a result, we're sitting in the car and we have to disguise the identity of the gentleman that we're speaking to, just in case he might be victimized. So at the end of the day, it is my responsibility to protect community members or even workers that are in the institution from being victimized. So we have to protect their identities. In most other communities across the world, the communities that live near the mines would be the ones with the businesses that serve the mines. The businesses that are serving Implats, the ones that are changing the bearings, the ones that are doing the construction, the ones that are transporting, do those belong to the community?
No, not at all. We have a number of companies here contracted by Zimplats doing the service for Zimplats. Few I can mention: Aquatic with trucks, loaders, excavators; DHI trucks, loaders, excavators; Value Engineering. The rumor says these companies, they are owned by managers in Zimplats, directors in Zimplats.
What?
Indeed, yes.
Who makes things, okay, so who makes things like the uniforms? Who supplies the uniforms? Isn't that something simple enough for the community to supply?
There is a company called Telston, which is in Kadoma. That's the one which is making the PPE, the overalls for Zimplats employees, for contractors, all contractors in Zimplats from Kadoma. But easily...
Who owns this company?
The rumor says one of the directors.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
How is it possible that directors can own companies that supply Implats? Is that not a conflict of interest?
Yeah, indeed.
Corruption?
Indeed it is. You see, they normally challenge employees who would have done a small business in the community, just a shop to sell something. They'll feel victimized. They are challenged. Some of them, they have lost their jobs. I know a certain guy, he was doing cement and some stuff, he lost his job. They'll create a case for you. Just a funny case to do with work, you're chased away. So for individuals who try to grow themselves outside Zimplats, benefiting from the community, they're at risk. It's a matter of time.
Towns like Kimberley were built. Johannesburg is a mining town and was built where all the Zimbabweans come to spend their money, buy their houses, and to live lavish, wonderful lives and do their shopping. It was created by mining. But are we doing the same in Zimbabwe with our mining? Is the platinum mining in Zimbabwe, which is the second biggest in the world, also doing what gold mining did for Johannesburg, diamond mining did for Kimberley, and platinum mining did for Rustenburg? So that's why I'm in Rustenburg, to show you what platinum mining has done in Rustenburg. But why Rustenburg is even more relevant is because 40% of the platinum that comes to Implats, South Africa's leading platinum miner, 40% of it comes from Zimbabwe. Not only does 40% of that platinum come from Zimbabwe, but it is also the cheapest and most profitable platinum for that company because it's easier to reach, it's higher quality resource, and so therefore it adds more profit to them.
If you look at Implats as a whole, Zimplats produces more than other companies, the Two Rivers and other shafts that are in South Africa. We produce more. Even if you go to their website, you can see that all companies in South Africa, they didn't declare their profits, except Zimplats. So actually, you have more muscle than South Africa. And I don't know the reason why they can't do the process up to the end of it here in Zimbabwe for us to benefit as a nation.
So you're suggesting that you think Zimplats is actually outproducing all those mines in South Africa?
Yes, they are doing much better than other companies that are in South Africa. The mother company, which is Implats, and it's on website.
Right.
That's public information.
Right.
So there's no secret. So I'm saying this with confidence.
Right.
So we are better off than even South Africa. So we should benefit more instead of South Africans.
Tell me, what are the other minerals that go out with this platinum met? Is that what you call it?
Yes.
What other minerals are going out?
They call it platinum mine. However, they mine palladium, rhodium, iridium, nickel, gold.
Nickel.
Yes. And the other minerals which they rarely talk about.
Are these declared at the border, or it's just platinum?
It's just platinum. But if you check very well, in retrospect, there's a time where platinum price was depressed. Palladium was actually better.
Rhodium was better.
Rhodium was better as well.
Nickel was better.
Yes. But they would complain, make all the kind of noise based on the platinum price, not considering or
pretending like.
Yes, but they know they are benefiting.
So what you're saying is then South Africa is the one that then gets that gold, iridium,
and other minerals, yes. Yes.
And they benefit from them in South Africa.
Yes.
But the Zimbabweans are not benefiting.
Yes.
The workers cannot negotiate for bigger salaries because they're being told, no, platinum prices are low.
Yes.
Even though
palladium, rhodium, gold are.
The rumors are from Zimbabwe they get 10 other metals and minerals. In fact, someone said that you will not be surprised to hear that Zimplats is one of the biggest nickel producers in the world, because nickel is extracted when they are extracting this ore of platinum. And guess what? Those other 9 minerals that include gold, nickel, palladium, rhodium, iridium, and many others are not being declared in Zimbabwe. This is the allegation of people from Ngezi, people who work in Zimplats, and even government officials. It's not being declared. So those minerals are taken to South Africa, separated at a smelter in South Africa, because it's not being separated in Zimbabwe, and the vast profits that come from there go and benefit South Africa to build Rustenburg, to build Johannesburg, to build South African cities. I want you to check out the road network of Rustenburg. You'll begin to understand why it is that I am making this documentary, to make us understand that we have to start working to ensure that our minerals start benefiting Zimbabweans and Zimbabwe, for us to build a country where we stop migrating and start living in it, because it's good enough to live in.
The Royal Bakubung were approached by a company called Wesizwe Mine. And Wesizwe Mine had discovered that they were sitting on a lot of platinum. They gave them 60% shareholding in Wesizwe even before the company started mining. The Royal Bakubung were able to create value by selling some of their shares and having as much as $50 million under their name that they then began to invest. Bakubung has totally transformed for me. From having dusty roads, wells, and huts, the Bakubung area is now filled with houses, roads, shopping centers, shopping malls, hospitals, clinics. And where you really get to see where development is taking place is when you begin to see hotels and B&Bs owned by community members. Even more interesting is the fact that when you go through Bakubung, you can actually see the lower classes, the middle class, and even the semblance of an upper class. This is what shows you that a community is growing. As for the road network, the road infrastructure, it rivals major cities on the African continent. This is what has come to a rural community in South Africa because it is benefiting from the exploitation of the mineral resources from its community.
City, they've got an institution called Glen Rice. It's an investment company. But I don't really know much about it, so that's why we've got the next gentleman to give us an understanding of this institution. My brother, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
We're hearing that there's this company called Glen Rice, and community members and employees are crying about this company. Can you explain to us who is Glen Rice?
We can just say Glen Rice is a company that was formed by Zimplats management in order for them to raise funds to support Ngezi Platinum Stars Football Club. So Glen Rice is the labor broking company. They specialize in selling labor to Zimplats. Then from the money that they get paid, they pay a portion of it to the workers.
When you say labor broking, explain to us what is labor broking and for who is labor broking done for? Is it for all workers or specific workers?
The only workers that are benefiting at Glen Rice is the management. The management benefits a lot because they actually paid in foreign currency, which is US dollars.
Is labor broking also done for managers?
No, there is no labor broking for management. Labor broking is only done for juniors.
So when the company says it's doing labor broking, what happens here?
So if Zimplats is in need of a builder, Glen Rice supplies the builders.
So the 15,000 workers that are working at Zimplats, they were looked for by labor brokers?
So far, Glen Rice is approximately 1,500 workers, and all of them are working at Zimplats.
What do the labor brokers get after broking?
So Glen Rice gets paid by Zimplats. So the way they're getting paid, they're saying that they get paid some invoice in USD and some in local currency, which is the ZiG. So as they go on to pay the workers, there are workers that are being paid a portion of USD, and the majority of workers are being paid 100% ZiG.
So you're saying that Glen Rice is the one that gets paid and then they pay the workers?
So all the way that are employed at Zimplats through Glen Rice, their salaries come through Glen Rice. And Glen Rice, from the amount that they receive from Zimplats, they take a portion of it and pay the workers who have actually done the job.
Why did they go and look for a company that does labor broking?
The way we see it is just a way of reaching out, exploiting the workers. Yes, it's owned by management and directors. They're the ones who own this company.
So they go and work for Zimplats, then they create a company to go and look for workers. They get paid and then they pay the workers?
So as we all know that in this country we use a number of currencies. So a worker should earn a certain portion of the salary in foreign currency and a certain portion of the salary in local currency. But now Zimplats management is saying that they can't pay the foreign currency portion. They're just exploiting the worker and giving us ZiG.
So, give me an example. How much is a worker paid in US dollars and in ZiG in consideration of what you've just said?
So we might have a worker who is being paid $300, but this $300 is converted to ZiG using the interbank rate. But we all know that everything that you need to pay here in Ngezi is paid in US dollars, be it rent, food, transport. It's all USD. So the worker is now forced to go on the black market to change the ZiG to USD. losing almost half of his salary on the black market.
So what would you recommend as what you feel this company needs to do in order to change the quality of life of the residents of the township here and the people of Ngezi and the villagers who are complaining about the pollution? And what would be your recommendation?
Just to start with, if you look at, if you go to Bindura right now, as old as it is, the location is tarred. If you come here in Ngezi, late in the day, towards sunset, where there is traffic of buses, cars from Zimplats, there is dust in the air. Too much of it. That alone is a hazard to the kids, to the old people in the community. Zimplats has to do better for the community. It has to consider people. Community, as they say, we respect, we care, we deliver. They say it's rhetoric. There's no practical in the matter. So we would wish Zimplats, or whoever can assist, to engage Zimplats management to do better, more than what they can do. There are a lot of individuals in the community with registered companies who can be given just small jobs, housekeeping jobs in the organization of Zimplats, and benefit, rather than making sure that they own the companies
that supply.
Yes. So getting a job for the company which they own is so simple. He wakes up in the morning, he looks in his pocket, he makes a decision. This has to be done, this has to be done. Invoice signed, he gets money.
That's corruption.
Indeed, at a high level.
It really is a concern. And corruption, conflict of interest, collusion become the order of the day in a listed company that has shareholders from the United States and South Africa that have to account to the Securities Exchange Commission in America and to other regulations in South Africa that do not accept bad corporate governance or illegal activities like corruption that then takes the money and launders it into banking accounts outside the country. This cannot be. It cannot be that executives of a mining company continue to do business with the mining company in conflict of interest and against corporate governance laws, which would be termed corruption, and everybody turns a blind eye. Because this is robbery of the shareholder. Does the shareholder Implats know that the directors within the company in Zimbabwe are extracting excess value, putting it into their own pockets, not developing the communities and creating businesses in the communities where they operate, and paying their workers peanuts while they take the profits and the cream from the company, even at the expense of the shareholder?
This is Johannesburg, Marshalltown. It is the place where, after they had begun to exploit diamonds in Kimberley, and they had made their millions, Cecil John Rhodes, Alfred Bate, Porgy's Bank, and the Rothschild family had become rich from the diamonds of Kimberley. They came to Johannesburg. And this place where I'm standing now is where they began to exploit the gold of South Africa. 51% of all gold ever extracted in this world came from this city, and particularly this place, Marshalltown, where I am. The gold then began to finance the mining of other mineral resources and the exploitation of other minerals in South Africa. We saw the exploitation of platinum that began in 1923. We saw the exploitation of coal that also began in the 1800s as they began to look for energy to finance the gold mining that was happening here. When you look at what gold has done for South Africa, you can see the big buildings,
the beautiful city of Johannesburg, the wealth that is in Johannesburg that today calls everybody from all across Africa and all across the world to come and visit and shop and buy expensive apartments in the city. But what about Zimbabwe? You have had over 80 billion US dollars worth of gold taken out of the soils of Zimbabwe. But can you show a street like this? Can you show buildings like this? Do you have a city like Johannesburg that attracts everybody from everywhere across the world? You don't. So now you've got platinum being mined, extracted from communities, and again, you do not have anything to show for it, unlike Johannesburg. It has become a shopping center. It has become a real estate market. It has become the most expensive square miles on the African continent. But what do you have to show in Harare? What do you have to show in Ngezi? Now, what is interesting about the mining of gold in South Africa is it all starts from a little city called Kimberley. Kimberley was the first town or city to be established for the purpose of mining in the whole of Africa. Yes, the Mutapa Empire existed, but what was unique about Kimberley is this is where the formal corporatization and imperialist exploitation of mineral resources was done systematically with the intention of enriching the West. As you drive through Kimberley, you pass by a landmark that one cannot miss. The old De Beers building and what they used to call the Central Sailing Organization or Sorting House. This building still feels like a throwback from the past. But you can also feel the grandness and the fact that this building was full of history and authority during its time. You wonder what used to happen in this building. And you wonder what it is that the men that worked in this building thought about the people or the communities that actually owned and sat over these resources for ages. Did they think about them? Did they consider them? Or, like the current miners, particularly Implats and Zimplats in Zimbabwe, they didn't give a regard to the people. But I can understand if De Beers, Cecil John Rhodes, and the white men that actually patronized this building didn't care about the natives. But what I cannot get my head around is the fact that today we have natives, people who share blood, culture, and history with the people of Ngezi, exploiting and abusing them in exactly the same way that Cecil John Rhodes and his shareholders once did.
Mining started here 16 July 1871. Over 40,000 miners came here with pick and shovel only. They dug by hand up until 240 meters.
Then they hit a layer of blue soil that is known as conglomerate. Very tough. These are volcanic rocks that will be carrying the diamonds. In Zimbabwe, for those of you that understand what happened in Marange, this is exactly what happened in Marange. It was easy to get the alluvial diamonds that were there on the surface in the sand. But now we've hit this conglomerate where we now need high technology machines to extract this diamond that is stuck within this volcanic rock. And so, the Westerners brought technology, the best in the world at the time, to Kimberley.
Found more diamonds. They found 14.5 million carats of diamonds out of this big hole. Wow, yes.
And these form almost 30% of what the world has ever received in terms of diamonds coming from South Africa.
Bafokeng came here to dig, to make money so they can buy back their land. They own that mine in Rustenburg, platinum mine. You know, the Bafokeng people. Now they come every 3 years by the big hole to do a ceremony to honor all those miners who worked here and those who passed away.
Even today, the communities on Ngezi are crying about expropriation of their land. And Kimberley reminds me that the Glenn Gray Act, the law that began to create reserves for black people, as Europeans began to take all the prime land, putting black people into reserves and compounds to be cheap labor for the mines, started in Kimberley. And now the very same system or similar systems are running throughout Africa, where the Chinese, Europeans, and even our own people, and of course the white South Africans, have continued to exploit our people under new names, new laws, but the outcome is exactly the same.
By the corner there is a searchlight. They call that light Cecil's Eye. In floors where they were breaking the rocks, those that would steal the rock at night will be watched with Cecil's Eye. My group, that is the end of the tour, but so far, did you enjoy it? Yes. Thank you, my group.
Thank you so much. Kimberley is fascinating, but at the same time, haunting. It's fascinating because it's a beautiful holiday city. It almost feels like a movie set, something that was created for fascination. Doesn't feel real, doesn't feel tangible. But then this is where the concern comes in, because it doesn't feel tangible and real because it isn't real. It is a city that was built around exploitation by the exploiters who, once they had finished exploiting the city, they left. What is it left for the people of Kimberley? Nothing. Hence the old buildings. Hence Kimberley is a big tourist attraction and monument, but it has nothing else to offer. When you move through Kimberley today, you begin to understand what this city stood for and probably what it still stands for today, because the natives, the Khoi, the San, the Kwa, they continue to starve and they continue to live lives of destitution and gangsterism because they were consigned to live in a big dungeon.
And we need to ask Africans today, are we getting the best technology to extract resources from our lands, but it's not benefiting our people? What was the point of Kimberley having trams, electricity, lighting and street lighting, and the third in the world to get it? But today, Kimberley is smaller than most other cities in Africa. It's poverty-stricken. So what was the point of all the technology that was used to exploit the city? This is the question we need to ask our leaders today. Is the development that these mining companies are bringing only to exploit, or is it to actually lift us? If it's not lifting us, why allow it? Why permit it?
My next visit was to the community members who had been dispossessed of their land. They had spoken about expropriation without compensation. I remember one of them saying that they had been robbed of their land. It didn't make sense. I mean, we're living in 2025 in one of the most radical, independent African countries that actually took its land from the settlers to give it back to its people. This is one country that is unique to all African countries because it has given justice to its people. But then you hear that in that very same country, black Zimbabweans are still complaining of having lost their land to expropriation without compensation under the same government that has emancipated them with their land. How could such an injustice happen? This is what I was going to hear from a community of members, among whom was a former employee of the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. So these are not just ordinary peasants. Some of them are very educated people that decided to retire in the village. And these were the men that were speaking about the injustice they were facing.
The issue that I'm going back for is very important.
Apparently, the community is claiming that the miner decided to create a dairy farm. And there is an allegation that one of the directors actually is a member of Dairy Board's board. And as a result, they are undertaking these dairy activities, and the community is suggesting that it is because of this board member that is sitting on the Dairy Board, which they're insinuating, therefore, is a conflict of interest. And the community has raised a number of complaints about what they believe is conflict of interest, if not fraud and corruption, which maybe the mother company Implats in South Africa doesn't know about. And so as a result, I'm going there to see where this dairy farm is and where the community has been closed out of their own land by the mine because it wants to do dairy farming. I'm still struggling to understand why a mining company would want to do dairy farming and how it then gets to expropriate land from a community of poor people. It expropriates communal land from a community of poor people for the purpose of undertaking dairy farming. They apparently got the rights to do the dairy farming on the pretext that this dairy farm will be for the benefit of the community. But now we're hearing that the community is not involved. The miner is benefiting 100% without any benefit to the community. This is the allegation, and so this is the story that I'm going to find out.
Then a company called Palmline came into our area. We don't know what is the relationship between Zimplats and Palmline that made Zimplats come to negotiate on its behalf.
This land that is being given to Palmline, whose land is it?
It's our land.
How much of your land do they take?
It's a big area. The whole area that is near the mountains, which is where Zimplats actually mines, and further beyond the mountains, all that land, they occupied it.
How many kilometers or hectares of land was taken? Do you know?
I don't have a measurement instrument, but from the Muloti corner all the way up to Muzeze corner, it will give us approximately 12 to 15 kilometers.
Pangati paipo zvinhambwe zvinoita 12 to 15 kilometers. Tozoenda kumabvazuva.
From there we head east. We are talking of about 15 to 20 kilometers. So that was the total area of our land, and above half of that was taken away from us.
Were you compensated for this land that was taken?
No, we were not compensated.
Expropriation without compensation. Right. Of the community. But yet this was community land.
And we are continuing to multiply issues. Vana vedu havachatozombovi nepekugara. Iyoyo yega ine mitsemu kana kuti mitswe.
So this issue alone has sparked a fire that has ignited other problems for us.
Ine mitswe kana kuti some leads to what?
To other problems.
Yes. To other problems. Tine chokutanga.
Our first issue is siltation that is happening into our natural water reservoirs, and it is being caused by mining activities that is happening in the platinum mine. What you're looking at was the dam, and we used to call it Kariba Dam because it would hold water throughout the whole year. If you actually come closer and look at the depth of this side and look at the sand on this side, you actually see that a lot of siltation has happened over years on this dam. All this sand is not supposed to be wet. If siltation not happen, we will still have this dam holding water. And that will eliminate some of the problems that we are having, such as our livestock going to drink water that is filled with toxins from mining activities.
Which parts of the mine is this siltation coming from?
The concentrator mainly, from the concentrator. And deliberately.
And also from all the construction companies that deliberately dump waste in our environment, like you have seen already. The streams that are there's one that is right behind the concentrator. As of last season, the water that we're getting from that natural stream of ours is from the dams that were left behind, that were already there from a long time ago. As for these dams, one, they're suited already, and the water that is occupying these dams is from the concentrator and is contaminated. As for how it spews from the concentrator up until it gets into the streams and into all these dams, we don't know. In the water that is in this stream and in these dams, you can actually smell the trace of chemicals. So they use chemicals when they are now processing in the concentrator.
Then the major one inozonge ine stench yatinonzwa ndiyanoti SIBX inoshandiswa paconcentrator paya, of which SIBX for the fact is a marine pollutant inokanganisa zviwanikwa zvemumvura.
What evidence do you have that marine life is being compromised?
The evidence that these chemicals are actually destroying aqua life is that before these water bodies were contaminated by the chemicals, we could hear frogs, we could see frogs, and we could even see where these frogs were laying their eggs. But now, there's nothing like that.
Moyo has spoken about biological warfare. Moyo, can you elaborate to educate us?
It comes in different forms, and sometimes it happens subconsciously. But for a mine of this magnitude, I don't think that they do it subconsciously.
Now, there's a history behind this that you're saying. If you remember back in the colonial era, the colonizer used to poison our cattle to kill them so that they can eventually take over the land. So are you suggesting that maybe this is what is taking place?
Yes, especially given that there is yet...
So there is cement that is being deliberately put here. And then from there we talk about plastics that are also being dumped. And then you speak about K-lights, and you're also saying that there are some diseases that have creeped in that you don't actually understand where they came from.
After they negotiated with us about our pastures, suddenly there was an outbreak and the veterinary services could not do anything about it. Yes, maybe the disease was natural, but why after you have come to ask for my pastures?
Just as I thought that I was now winding up my documentary, I then received a phone call from a lady and a voice that I didn't know. And this lady then challenged me and said, "Have you spoken to the royal family?" And I said, "Who is the royal family?" She said, "The Ngezi royal family." And I said, "I didn't know that there was an Ngezi royal family." And he said, "Yes, there is a Ngezi royal family and you need to speak to them." And so I got in my car and drove with my camera team to go and meet the elders. Now, when we consider that you, the Ngezi clan, are one of the biggest royal families in the country, when we juxtapose that with the fact that you have the biggest mining company in the country mining in your area. So, have you benefited anything from the mining that is taking place?
No, we have not benefited from anything from the mining.
When you say that you got nothing out of the mining that is taking place, what do you mean?
There's no day that we, the Ngezi people, were called to be given something by the mine. I mean, our people should be having benefits. Like us, the elderly, we should be getting stipends. And for the youth, we should have developments such as technical schools, like the one in Ngezi, where there's skills training in areas like building, carpentry, and plumbing. The youth who will then bring these skills into different communities and earn a decent living.
So, as a family that has got mining taking place on its land, what would you want?
We want our own general hospital, a big one, like Karanda, where they can actually practice complicated surgeries and operations. Not this situation where, if someone is sick, we'll go all the way to Mubira, or even as far as Kadoma.
To Kadoma, we're looking at what?
I don't know. We just travel by a car, so I don't know how many they are. But from our homestead to Mubira, it should be 13 kilometers.
Mama, have you heard about a family that is known as the Royal Bafokeng of South Africa?
We just read about it, and I have also heard about them.
Royal Bafokeng is just like you, the royal family of Ngezi. This is the community that is sitting on the resource that has been mined by the mother of Zimplats, Implats, in South Africa. From the time that mining of platinum began on the land of the Royal Bafokeng family, they have been getting dividends and development funds for their community from Implats in South Africa. So the question I have is, why are the things that are being done for the Royal Bafokeng in South Africa not being done for the Royal Ngezi family here in Zimbabwe?
I think when the platinum was firstly discovered, our elders did not realize the importance of being involved. If I have been involved from the beginning, we might be benefiting. When it started, I was married by then, so I was just hearing that there's now a mine.
1995.
Yes, and we would just hear that platinum have been discovered in Mondoro.
If you were sitting in front of the president of Zimbabwe or the parliament of Zimbabwe, what would you say to them?
I really would want to say this to the president. This land is called Rimuka, Mondoro Ngezi. It belongs to the Ngezi people, and we are the Ngezis. So this is what we want. We want a college where our youth will be training in different fields, carpentry, building, plumbing, and all the other technical skills. As well as the elders, I am 75. We would also want to get monthly stipends, just like South African royal families do. We also would want our children to be working in these mines. I actually have a nephew who is currently unemployed, but he has a degree. Even if you go to see the management and tell them, I am Ngezi, they won't listen to you, and they keep on hiring outsiders.
To the corrupt, to the exploiters, to the enemies of our people, consider this your notice. We are taking back what is ours. The mines of Namibia belong to Namibia. The wealth of Namibia belongs to Namibians. And the future of Namibia will be written by Namibians. The world is watching. Let them see a nation that refuses to bow. Let them see a people who have awakened. Let them see a leader who stands for her people, fiercely, unapologetically, and with fire in her heart. This is our time. This is Namibia's time.
We've finally come to the end of the journey, and I've got mixed emotions. I've got mixed emotions because just while we were shooting this documentary, the president of Namibia made a speech that was very touching. She made a speech in which she was firing the Minister of Mines. And she was firing the Minister of Mines because she says that he has been focusing on advancing the interest of foreign interests much more than the national interest of Namibia. She was even lamenting the fact that African children continue to be poor. Africans continue to be impoverished, even though their continent gives the world the biggest amount of resources and the greatest wealth that enriches people in the countries where these minerals are going. And the question she was asking is, why should our people continue to starve, to be hungry, and to be destitute, yet they give the world all its gold, diamonds, platinum, and all the minerals that the world needs in order to develop? And the answer to this question is pretty simple. Africans are not making the right policies. They're not being deliberate about ensuring that the mineral resources of this continent benefit the people of this continent and lift people out of poverty so that this continent can begin to be recognized like the other continents. We're not being deliberate like China was deliberate to bring 600 million people out of poverty, because Africans continue to be self-centered. They continue to prefer to be victims, yet we are governing. We've been governing this continent for over 70 years. Our leaders are in charge. They make the policies. They can break the colonial policies and they can create new policies that empower Africans, but they haven't. The situation in Ngezi in Zimbabwe, the reason why our platinum leaves and 40% of South Africa's Implats platinum builds Rustenburg and advances South African lives while Ngezi remains a little backwater, is the decisions made by our politicians, our parliamentarians, and the communities that are not changing the policies to ensure that they benefit. So that is not the fault of colonialism. That is our fault. We are not making the changes and the differences to ensure that people are empowered. And the reason why the Ngezi case study is important is we want you to see the microcosm that actually then defines what happens in Zimbabwe as a whole. I am focusing on Ngezi, talking about how it is that some of the richest platinum in the world, probably the second biggest platinum mine in the world, has failed to develop the community from where that platinum is coming from. But that's no different from the broader picture where Zimbabwe has given over $100 billion worth of gold, but no city in Zimbabwe reflects a city that was built from the gold taken from this country. So we are coming to you with this documentary, appealing to you, the president of the country, the parliament of the country, the ministers and cabinet of Zimbabwe, and you Zimbabweans, to say, can we continue to have the royal families and the communities from where the vast amount of resources are being given to the world continue to live in poverty with nothing to show that one day when the minerals are finished, they will look back and only have destruction? Because the problem is, it's not only like these people are being exploited. It's not only like these mines are destroying the environment. They're impoverishing the people more. They exploit their labor, they steal the resource, they kill the cattle and destroy the wealth of these communities, and over and above that, they destroy the environment, they make sure there's no water bodies, and tomorrow these communities will need to survive when the mine is gone. So, we've analyzed the problem, we've talked about the problem, but now what is the solution? The solution is we need to be deliberate. Our politicians, our parliamentarians have got to make new policies. Mr. President, you need to use your SIs to start enforcing that communities in Zimbabwe benefit from the mineral resources of this country. We need to ensure that communities have got body corporates, governance organizations, corporate organs that carry the interest of the communities. These need to sit on the mining boards. They need to be part and parcel of the mining decision making. Professional people need to be employed on these corporate bodies to represent the interests of the communities. They need to have voting rights. They need to receive dividends. They need to have a say in the operations and the environmental conduct of these companies. And they also need to receive corporate social responsibility funds, while a share of the profits of these mining companies is set aside in order for restoration and projects that are going to actually empower the the communities. Contracts to supply the miners or the companies that are extracting from these communities need to go to the communities. The trucking companies, the companies that provide sand, the companies that do the building, the companies that give corporate wear, that give the food, companies that actually provide the bearings and the replacement of parts and tools need to come from the communities so that, like Rustenburg, we begin to develop a middle class. Like Johannesburg, we begin to leave wealth that creates a real estate industry. That real estate industry needs to drive construction. The construction needs to also drive other downstream and connected industries that ensure that these people will be lifted out of poverty and will begin to make money like we see in South Africa. Ngezi must have its people living in Ngezi, making money in Ngezi, so that they do not have to leave to go to Harare or South Africa. And we cannot continue to have a situation where only companies from Harare come into Ngezi and make all the money without any development happening in Ngezi. And this is not a Ngezi thing. It's the same in Mazowe, it's the same in Shabani, it's the same in Shurugwi. Everywhere else where there's mineral resources, the communities there must benefit. Where the Chinese are being said to be the ones that are destroying, we also need to have board members from the community sitting on these boards. It cannot be that a few chiefs, given a few tokens, given a few trinkets, make a decision for an entire community, for the future of that community and the future generations. We cannot have a few chiefs making a decision to say it's okay to rape and pillage a community, take its resources, while the community does not develop because the chief is receiving a few benefits for him and his family. That's why this has got to be corporatized. And more importantly, we need a return of indigenization laws. The concept that foreigners can come into Zimbabwe, particularly foreigners from outside Africa, and they can do as they please, rape and pillage our environment without our say, without our supervision, yet we, the people of Zimbabwe, are the custodians, surely doesn't work. And that's why we need indigenization policies to return. And to you, Mr. Finance Minister, we understand that you removed indigenization policies to make Zimbabwe an investment destination, but we're seeing the disadvantages. We have the destruction of our environment, the pillaging of the resource, and no development for the communities that are our grandfathers, our mothers, our fathers, who we eventually have to take care of because they cannot earn pensions, they cannot get a basic universal grant because there's no development coming into the community. And as the president of Namibia eventually closed, she spoke about the fact that we need men and women in our governance systems that care about national interest and not their own pockets over the interests of the people. As Africans will continue to be looked down upon, downtrodden, because we continue to be beggars with a begging bowl, yet we're the richest on the continent because we're not looking out for our national interest. This is another documentary from me, Rutendo Matinyarare, telling the good Zimbabwe story and telling the African story from the African voice. Follow us on YouTube, on these channels, and also follow me on social media so that I can continue to bring you content like this that brings change to the continent. My last documentary was a documentary on the Congo War, and that documentary was instrumental in pulling out SADC soldiers from Congo, getting the Congolese government and M23 to talk, because the Congolese government got in touch with our government in Zimbabwe to find out if M23 was willing to talk because their communication channels had collapsed. I was the person that then communicated with them that M23 were ready to talk. There was a ceasefire soon after that period. This is the power of these documentaries, and it is up to you as Africans and other members of the world to support this kind of platform to ensure that we continue to give you the stories that matter and the stories that bring change. This is Rutendo Matinyarare, telling the good Zimbabwe story and also telling the African story from an African voice. Continue to stay tuned and follow us.